My family believed my sister's lie, disowned me, and let me rot. Now they want me to save them from homelessness, so I let them lose everything. 3 years ago, my sister Megan accused me of stealing money from our parents, not a few $100s. She claimed I had taken nearly $40,000 from a retirement account my parents had spent years building. I found out through a phone call from my mother. She didn't ask if it was true. She didn't ask for my side. She just said, "How could you do this to us?" I stood in my apartment kitchen completely confused while my father yelled in the background. Megan had shown them screenshots and bank records that supposedly proved everything. Before I even understood what was happening, I was already guilty in their eyes. Within a week, my parents stopped answering my calls. My younger brother Ryan blocked me. Relatives started sending messages about disappointment and betrayal. 30 years of being part of that family disappeared almost overnight. I fought back at first. I hired an attorney and gathered every financial record I could find. The evidence clearly showed I had never accessed the account. I emailed copies to everyone. Nobody replied. The only response came from my father. "Leave us alone." So I did. What happened afterward hurt more than being accused. A few months later, I lost my job during company layoffs. My savings disappeared quickly. I sold my truck to keep paying rent. I moved into a tiny apartment and spent most days searching for work. Some weeks were so tight that dinner was whatever I could find for a few dollars. My family knew about it. Friends told me they had heard. Not one person called. Not one person checked on me. Meanwhile, Megan became the favorite daughter. Family photos appeared online constantly. Birthday dinners, holiday gatherings, weekend trips, everyone smiling together while I was treated like I no longer existed. Eventually, I stopped looking. I focused on rebuilding my own life. I found another job and started doing property maintenance work on weekends. A friend encouraged me to start my own business. The first year was rough. The second year was profitable. By the third year, I had several employees and contracts across the county. For the first time in years, things felt stable. Then my father called. I hadn't heard his voice in almost 3 years. "Can we talk?" That was it. Nothing more. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a restaurant. Both of my parents were already waiting. They looked older and exhausted. After a few awkward minutes, my father slid a folder across the table. Inside were foreclosure notices, overdue tax bills, and loan documents. The numbers were terrible. They were about to lose their home, the house where I grew up. "What happened?" I asked. My mother quietly answered, "Megan." Over the years, Megan had convinced them to invest in one failed business after another. An online boutique, a retail shop, a real estate project. Every venture lost money. Each time she needed more funding, my parents gave it to her. When their savings ran out, she convinced them to borrow against their home, then borrow more. Eventually, the debt became impossible to manage. The final blow came when Megan disappeared with her boyfriend and stopped answering calls. Nobody knew where she was. My father finally got to the point. "We need help." The reason for the meeting was obvious now. They wanted money. My money. My mother reached across the table. "We were hoping you could save the house." I looked at both of them. 3 years earlier, they had abandoned me without evidence. When I struggled financially, they ignored me. Now they expected me to rescue them. I asked a simple question. "If I help, what happens when Megan comes back asking for more money?" Neither of them answered. That silence told me everything. A week later, they invited me to a family gathering. For the first time in years, everyone suddenly wanted to see me. Relatives talked about forgiveness and moving forward. Nobody talked about the accusation that destroyed my relationship with them. Eventually, my uncle pulled me aside and said, "Your parents need you." I nodded and handed him a folder. Inside were the documents from 3 years earlier. Bank records, attorney reports, financial investigations, everything proving I never stole a dollar. The investigation had also revealed that Megan had been moving money herself. The evidence had existed the entire time. Nobody had bothered to look at it. The folder moved around the room. People read quietly. Conversations stopped. Faces changed. Questions started. My parents sat there speechless. For the first time, the family saw the truth. A month later, the foreclosure was finalized. The house was gone. I didn't stop it. I didn't write a check. I didn't make a phone call. The last message I received from my father said, "You could have helped." I deleted it without replying. 3 years earlier, they decided I wasn't family anymore. When they lost everything, I simply respected their decision.